Hey, Brahma, I've been out of town for
Ready,
a
Tiffany?
week now. I don't know if I've been exposed or not, but I'm feeling kind of sick tonight, so I may have to leave the meeting.
No, you can't leave. Now we're gonna start, okay?
No, you can't leave. We have to vote.
I'll stay as long as I can.
This is the regular meeting, Thursday, July 14th at the Fraser Park Public Utility District. We are beginning at 6 o'clock. Call to order, pledge to the flag. Everybody? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
Pledge
States of
allegiance
America
to the
and
flag
to
of the United States of America, to the republic,
one nation
stand
under God,
one nation,
Under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
That didn't sound too good.
That was pretty awful. Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Here,
Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Garcia, are you here?
Here,
Um,
And Director Gibson,
Director Gibson, I'm here, kind of. Okay,
all five.
all here, okay? Discussion vote on adjusting the agenda if necessary. Director Schoenberg?
Okay, so we have a bunch of things that are gonna have to get moved around, because we're not gonna have D on the meeting until after 7:30. And so I would like to, well, I'm just gonna try to figure out what we can do and what we can't do. So, we'll move forward to the first part, and all of the second part past 10. On 11, 12, 13, we're gonna need to, and 15, we're gonna need to postpone those until after 7:30. And then I'd like to table 16, the employee, oh, well, Jerry's here, but if you're gonna leave, Jerry, I think we should table the employee handbook again.
okay.
And we don't have Johnny, so Johnny's not gonna be here tonight. He really needs to be here for that. And then, let's see, and then I think we also should table now, if you can stay on long enough, I think we should move 23 to earlier so that we can expand the book asset ad hoc while Jerry's on the meeting, because we need 5 directors for that.
We can do that for 11.
So I guess after, let's move that one between, actually, let's move that one right before financial business. So between 7 and 8. Because we definitely need to discuss that. And then I'd also like to move that we table the minutes until our next, all of the minutes that are listed under 24, until our next, until our planning meeting. That's quite a bit of stuff if you retained all that.
Do we need to do the? Oh, that's the 218s up there. Okay,
It needs a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson is aye, so 5-0-0.
Any public comment?
Public comments, there's,
Is there any public comments?
I don't see that there are any, there's no one here. Report of officers, President, I don't have anything to report. Vice President,
All my reports will be in the agenda items.
Secretary? Who's that?
Jerry.
Jerry.
Negative.
Treasurer,
Yes,
Brahma,
so it seems, it seems that, they did, reverse the $13 charge, for the Lake of the Woods planning. So I'll have to, I can make that $13 charge. That check from D is still outstanding. And then, but we still gonna have to go back to the bank because on the USDA payment fund, they charged another a $25 analysis service fee again. So I don't know why they're continuing to do that on that account. It does look like they are taking the $35 charge off the operating fund account. So that seems to be correct. The only question that I had, and this is for you, Director Schoenberg, is I know we're at the end of our fiscal year and we have been putting money into the reserve accounts, and I don't know how long you had put those in for. And is there a new figure that we need to figure out? I guess that's the question.
I believe that they go until, I don't know, I need to look. I thought they went until October, until September, but I need to double check. And yes, if they only went until June, we need to figure out so we didn't dissolve that ad hoc yet, so I guess we can try to do that as part of that ad hoc. The Treasury ad hoc.
Yeah, maybe we could do that at the same time. Yeah, as soon as I'm clear, you know.
I'll go on and look when I get a chance, maybe tomorrow, and see and let you know.
Okay, so that was my only concern.
thank you, Brahma,
And that's all I have to report.
thank you. JPIA representative.
You're welcome.
I have nothing.
Okay, board member initiatives. I do have one that I wanted to, I know that Carrie is the JPIA rep, but I know that she's very busy on the financial committee. A couple months ago, we made an insurance payment of $10,000. And it, after some research by Johnny and Deborah, it was discovered that in 2019, JPIA was given the wrong actual payroll by almost double. And I think that we could either get the money back from them or get it applied so that our pool of money will be above the threshold. And I think that by one phone call, I could find out what we need to do if the board would allow me to do that. I wouldn't mind doing that, and then I'll bring it to the meeting and what they say we can do. It's $10,000, guys.
Yeah,
I'm okay with,
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
I mean, do you want to
I'm okay with it.
do the JPIA rep, or do you just want like a one-off, just this
you know
one
what, I thought I
time?
could make the phone call because the JPIA rep is really busy with the finance, and it's just a phone call, it's just, so I'll make a phone call and then bring it to the board, and you could decide what we need to do next. How does that sound?
I'm fine
sounds
with
fine.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds wonderful.
Jerry didn't answer.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, dear.
Done.
Okay, managers report. Tiffany, are you gonna give us the managers report?
You didn't give me anything.
Okay, how about administrative assistance report?
I don't have anything that stands out. Everything will be in the agenda item.
Ad hoc committee reports, project committee?
Okay, so what's happening is that we are having some stuff that we need to discuss again in terms of the easement. That's gonna come up on the agenda item. And we are gonna have our attorney join us later on, as well as Carlos from CNC, who are the current owners of Saya. I mean, not Saya, but that property. So it was Tate, it was Saya, now it's called CNC. So he's gonna come join us either in person or on Zoom, I'm not sure which, after 7:30. Dee is not gonna be here until after 7:30, but that's what's going on with that. In terms of the other items, I did go to the state meeting. You guys all have it's not approved yet, but you all have the minutes for that, which I tabled, so they're not gonna get approved, but you can read pretty much what was going on that. And then Carlos and Oscar are not here tonight, so some of the stuff is gonna be a little interesting to discuss, but we'll see what we can do when we get there. And then I would like to know, and it's not here on the agenda, but I want to kind of put it out there and find out, Jerry, because I had Director Nyman fill in on one of the things because you were out of town. Are you feeling like you want to continue in that role of the project committee ad hoc, or do you think that it's hard to I don't know, without someone being there all the time, it's hard for me to keep up. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
I'm
No,
struggling.
I
And
get it, I get it.
yeah, so I just want to know if you feel like you can catch up, because there's been, a lot of stuff going on, and if so, then that's fine. And if not, then I would like to put on the next agenda that we maybe switch back to see, but now I'm not sure Director Nyman would have to say if he's up to it, but he just was on it for a long time, so he has quite a bit of knowledge on that committee, and I'm struggling, and I'm gonna have a surgery coming up pretty shortly, and I'm afraid if there isn't someone who's pretty up to speed, that we're gonna have some issues. I don't know what's gonna happen with me, so.
Well, if Director Nyman is willing to sit on that project committee, I would gladly rescind my position. But it's based on what he thinks he can do.
So I don't think we can vote on it because it's not on the agenda, and I don't know if it's like eminent, if it's drastic enough to put it on, but I would like to add that to the planning meeting. And then, so if you want to think about that, Director Nyman, and we could make that.
Yeah, I'm willing to do it. Whatever the board wants to do, I'm open.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to keep up either. If there aren't, if I can't bounce it back and forth all the time.
Okay, so add it to the next agenda. Thank you, Tiffany. Book Asset Detail Committee.
Accounts payable.
Oh, I'm sorry, Terry.
That's fine.
payable.
Accounts payable, since Director Nyman was ill, I met with Director Schoenberg, and we went through the bills, and there's 5 or 7, I don't know, big checks that need a third signature. And everything else is pretty much regular, and Deborah will explain the big ones when we get to the financials.
Okay, great. Now book asset detail.
Okay, so this comes up as an item in a minute after number 7, so we can kind of discuss more when it comes up. But probably some of this will have to be put off until the budget is completed or more complete, because they interact with each other, and that'll come up in a minute. So, you know, that's, we have met a few times, but we didn't meet this last time, because Director Nyman was not able to, so, but I think that we're not gonna be able to move forward easily on that until we finish the budget, although what is gonna happen, I guess I can I need to look and see how it's written on the agenda.
We'll get to that.
No, because the vote discussion is just on expanding it, so, so what I'm gonna say here is that Scott from, our auditor, and this applies to both the book asset and the budget committee, is going to come up and meet, with me, with, Deborah, and then whatever happens on this decision we're gonna make, with another member of the board, so that we can kind of strategize how to move forward. And I'll talk about more in a few minutes.
Okay, so budget committee.
You want to address that or?
We've been working on it and connected with this, talking with Scott, the auditor. We had some mistakes a couple years back, and we can go back and correct the ones in 2020, right? And it
2021,
will hold up our audit for a couple of months, so we just need for the directors to give us the okay. Because we would like to fix it so it's a more accurate picture.
right, so let me just real quickly, so what's been happening in the past is that we keep having what's called adjusting journal entries. And adjusting journal entries, what they do is they fix the issues when you find something after the fact, but they're very hard to trace back. There's not, there is a roadmap or a path or however you want to call it that the auditors have. But in order for us to know what's going on, we would have to address every single thing and then have the auditors like go back and try to, you know, do a little forensic thing where they told us what it meant, you know, what they actually did and why. So that's been coming up a lot in our budget committee. As we've been going through the budget, we've been finding a bunch of things that were classified. So they went under the wrong category. And so a lot of things need to be changed. We cannot change 1920 where we also found mistakes. Those are going to be adjusting journal entries. But because we haven't closed the audit yet, because the audit, the final, I mean, we've done everything on the audit except the final part of the audit that's sitting on the auditor's desk, their boss, in order to be, you know, signed off on. But if the person signs off, everything will have to be an adjusting journal entry. If it's not signed off and we want to tell them to hold off, it will cost us a bit more money because we're gonna have to have them look at things again after we resubmit. But Deborah would actually be able to go into our QuickBooks, make the changes once we talk to Scott and figure out the best way to do that, the best practices for it. But she would be able to resend them the QuickBooks again, and that would allow us to not have adjusting journal entries and for everything to make sense. Because right now it's going to be really messy because it's multiple items that got done incorrectly. So what we're asking is that the directors, we can't vote on this per se because it's not an agenda item, but we can just get just like we did with the okay for Becky, we can just get an okay if it's all right with all the directors to, I already asked them to hold, but just you will confirm that that's okay, and that we don't know what the extra amount will be yet for waiting again and re-looking at a few things, but hopefully, you know, it's not the whole audit, it's just comparing the changes.
Yeah, but we can't do anything because all you're doing is the committee, the ad hoc thing. You're not doing, we're not on that yet.
If you can't do anything, then we will have it just in journal.
No, I'm saying we can't vote or anything because we haven't gotten there.
No, that we're not
Oh.
voting on that. It's not on the agenda. What the vote is just to,
But we,
the vote
as
is only for
directors, do we
the,
have a vote of confidence?
yeah, it's a
that we-
vote.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. My question is, how much extra money are we talking about for an audit? Do we know? I mean, to hold this audit over, and have Deborah do these changes, how much money are we talking about?
Well, on the bookkeeper.
Do we have any
on
idea?
the Bookkeeper end, I think it's gonna be the same.
I'm not worried about the bookkeeper. I'm worried about the auditors. I guess what the auditors are charging.
They are all done, but what they would need to do is compare the QuickBook output that Deborah will send after the fixes. So there's gonna be two costs. One is that Scott needs to come up and tell us how we should proceed, and he has to do that either way. Because we cannot move on without at least doing adjusting journal entries, but there are things that we need to discuss with them. So there's that cost, which would happen either way. And then there's whatever it costs it doesn't cost to ask them to not do anything. It just costs to have them do another comparison with the output original output she has from QuickBooks that she gave them already, and the new output she's going to give them. They should be able to see the paper trail really easily. I think it will cost less than the adjusting journal entries that it would take them next year to fix everything. That's just my
Okay.
opinion though. Deborah, what do you think about that?
Deborah, did you hear her?
I heard her. My feeling is, from my experience, that going forward, it should decrease a lot of the cost because we'll know, we will correct it from this point and have it be correct going forward, and we'll have less changes correcting and adjusting journal entries going forward. And that will affect the cost of the time the auditors spend on the books. So I don't, and of course, I don't know the contract that you have with them or your agreement with them, but I really feel that this is a point where we can get a lot of things cleaned up and have a clearer idea of how to avoid the adjusting journal entries going forward.
And there's enough things that it's gonna be somewhat forensic next audit if we don't fix it this audit.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
So
Okay,
what about the other directors?
Director Garcia. are
That's
you-
fine.
Director
Yes, I'm
Cameron,
on board.
I'm okay with this. And-
Okay, so we'll be asking them to hold the audit until we can make the corrections, and then Scott will be coming up next week to tell us kind of how we can go about that. And that's it.
Okay, now Trish, you can-
So I think Brahma mentioned all these, Director Nyman, but so we just need to get together, and I will look tomorrow and see how I set up the automatic payments into the revenue accounts, reserve accounts, I mean, not revenue. So I'll let him know that, and then we'll have to meet when he is better to go back to the bank.
Can I make a suggestion that we do it? But after you guys figure this out, we need to make it consistent year after year because the treasurer is going to change. And so anybody will have to know versus coming back in and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, what was happening, Deborah, and you haven't done this yet, is that our bookkeeper would figure out exactly what the changes were gonna be based on the bond books. This last time, we did it as directors and figured it out and then made the decisions and did the automatic withdrawal, the automatic transfers. So it's just, and I can talk to you about it, Deborah, but yeah, we need to set it up in such a way that it, like there's some procedure that we follow every year.
Okay,
Okay, can we move on to financial business? Discussion, vote on accounts.
No, we
No?
have the one that we moved, the 24
Oh,
or 23.
so discussion, vote on expanding the book asset detail ad hoc.
Yes. So, what's happening is the book assets, like I explained a little bit ago, are overlapping with the budget. Right now Becky is on the budget ad hoc with me, and Director Nyman, Burma is on the book assets. Because we need to discuss both things, we need to have a vote that it's okay that sometimes things, I mean, I don't even know how to do it. We were gonna try to figure that out because we, without just having one ad hoc that does both, which we had and then we changed, what needs to happen is that for some things, there needs to be an overlap where the directors okay the person on either ad hoc. There's never gonna be three people, but the person on either ad hoc to be able to switch over, which we've had to do without
Lisa,
a vote on some of these other ad hocs because people have been sick. So, I mean, probably we should have addressed it as something that is more fluid for when people are ill. Because it really is difficult to move forward. But that's not what's actually on the agenda, so what's on the agenda?
Lisa.
Yes, Director Diamond.
I personally, if Becky wanted to do the book asset along with the budget with you, I would be willing to step away from that since I am going to be coming back onto the project ad hoc committee. I would be willing to release that.
Well, that came from left field.
Becky didn't know if she
Just
was ready
just
to
putting
do
it out there.
But I think it's,
The thing is I don't know how you can cross ad hocs, because that's gonna put one person in amongst two other, which is a triangle, which is then you're
Which
still
is a
gonna
serial
have.
meeting.
it's only
It's
a
a serial-
serial meeting if you're doing it at the same, right? I mean, it's only a serial meeting if you're discussing, I don't know, it could get interesting.
It can get.
But it's gonna be, it's gonna, yeah, I don't even know how to do it. I mean, you could say that for what we just did on the accounts payable, so I don't know. I don't know what we do when directors are sick and an ad hoc has to move forward, and some of the ad hocs, particularly the project ad hoc, it's really hard to continuously move forward.
Well, the learning curve is.
The learning curve
Stiff.
is, yeah. And the learning curve on these other ones is pretty stiff too. on all of
Yeah, I
them.
mean, on
All
book
of them.
asset detail. I hate being the weakest link on the committee, and it's very stressful for me.
So I don't know what to do. I just wanted to discuss it. That's why I had Tiffany put it on the agenda, because it's gonna come up immediately as soon as we meet with Scott, because we can't have three people there. And Scott needs to discuss both book asset and budget. And that's gonna happen on the 25th. So I don't even know. I don't know how you address that with the Brown. I mean, maybe it's a question we need to ask the attorney when he is here.
Yeah.
So maybe what we should do is we should It's just, here's the problem, if we hold off on this, then and Jerry needs to leave, we won't have enough directors
To go.
to vote. So, but we could, yeah, and then we're not having another meeting before Scott, so I don't know what to do. Any other directors have an idea?
Other than merging the ad hocs. Other than that, you'll just have to be creative and try to isolate the two different topics.
I think definitely we need
Can
to
you
talk
speak
to a
up,
lawyer
Tiffany?
about it.
He didn't hear you, Director Arnold didn't hear you.
My only suggestion is either to merge the ad hocs to get rid of any, questions, or be very delineated as far as book asset, talk about book asset, and budget, talk about budget, but once they start
Right, if there's,
merging it, it's difficult, yeah.
well, I think we might need to go with Director Nyman's solution, but it just means that, we spent hours and hours and hours getting him up to speed. So I don't,
You spent hours and hours getting Director Nyman up to speed?
yeah, because we had to come to a decision on how we were even going to do this, and there was some, yeah, we had some long discussions. So without having to have those long discussions again, I guess we could just, if Director Gibson is willing, then I guess she'll just have to learn on the fly. But I mean, she has been doing the budget stuff, so she does know what's going on with the budget. And then I think Joan has her hand up.
Joan? Did you want to add something,
Oh,
Joan?
no, that
no,
was,
it's a
that wasn't
cursor.
Joan, that was, that
Ah,
was Tiffany. Sorry, Joan. It looked like a little hand,
It
but it was the
doesn't.
cursor.
Yeah.
Okay,
You turned your camera off in the boardroom.
No, we're still showing.
Is it-
Oh, I don't see it on mine. Okay.
We're trying to figure out, Director Nyman, if Director Gibson is willing to jump into your shoes.
I mean, I'm willing, I just. This is not my strong suit.
Oh, there you.
Don't know how frustrating it will be for you to try to bring me up to speed. I'm willing to try, but I'm being honest with you. I'm the weakest member of the budget committee, and bringing up to speed on the book asset detail committee. Yeah, I'm willing to try.
They definitely are more merged than they ever were, because we were approaching it in a completely different way. And now we found out we can't approach it that way. And you were privy to those conversations, which already really deal with the book asset, which Director Nyman knows nothing about right now because it happened on the budget committee.
Yes,
So I think it would work. It's just because you've already been privy to those conversations of how we have to do things a completely different way.
because I know Director Nyman, you have quite a bit on your plate, and I appreciate all your hard work.
So the
And I
project,
certainly want to pull my weight.
and the project committee is crazy,
Yeah,
difficult.
and that might help your decision about that, huh? If I
Yeah,
took this on,
Yeah.
okay. I'm willing.
so are the directors, I guess it would be, whether, so instead of expanding the book asset detail ad hoc, it would be just melding the two back together, which we took them apart. But putting them back together, but with Director Gibson and myself on the two. I'm already on both, so, but just adding Director Gibson and removing Director Nyman.
So Director.
I make a motion that we
Well, I'd rather make the motion, Brahma, only because,
You're part of
you're
the,
part of
Okay,
the.
go ahead.
But I was just wondering what
Yeah.
Director Garcia is thinking.
I'm on board with
Jerry?
all those.
You're
Yes.
okay?
I'm okay with all that.
Okay, because you're gonna have to probably second this motion.
I'm here and I'm ready to go.
Okay, I will move that we somewhat demolish the book asset ad hoc with Director Nyman coming off, leaving Director Schoenberg, and then adding to the book asset Director Gibson.
but it actually is gonna get melded together with the budget, because that's really what needs to happen.
Well, yeah, but hang on.
So we don't want it demolished.
Well, that's why I said somewhat. I'm not sure the word to fit in there. Because we need to transfer Director Nyman off of the book asset.
Consolidate.
We need to consolidate, there you go. We need to consolidate the ad hoc committees of the book asset and the budget committee. And remove Director Nyman from the book asset ad hoc. Thank you for the word.
I'll second that motion.
And add Becky Gibson.
And adding, well,
Well, she's already on it,
She's
so if
already
it's
on it, so
consolidated.
if we're gonna consolidate it, then we just need to remove
Okay.
you.
Here,
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you for that word.
if you, I
Still
Jerry has
second the
seconded it.
nominate to abstain.
Yeah, now we need to vote.
Okay, it's. We are not gonna be able to pass it.
Brahma doesn't
Roll
need to
call,
abstain.
huh?
Brahma does not need to abstain.
Because he's being removed.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect, okay. Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Abstain?
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson, abstain, so it's 3-0, 2 abstentions.
There.
That was,
Perfect.
I'm tired.
Okay, now financial. business.
Now we're on to financial business. Discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
That's Deborah.
Hey,
She
Deborah.
signed it, Director.
Hi. Okay,
Got 'em all.
so we've cut 42 checks from the revenue operating account for a total of $77,545.43. And those issues, 3,000 or greater. If you look on your check detail, page 3, second item down, JPIA employee benefits, check for $9,041.87. No change from last month. Page 4, second item down to California Parking and Highway. We cut a check for $3,400. Second from the bottom of page 4, Core and Main. A check for $4,656.53. Page
And
5,
that was for how many curb stops? Do we know?
You have it. We can look
Excuse
it
me,
up.
do we know how many curb?
We can look it up right now. For me. It's the part where you can,
Sorry, Deborah.
no, that's fine.
the service.
Oh. Oh, no, okay.
Instead of, I think.
Well, there's a lot of things on there.
The balls for
Wow,
that,
$18,000.
15. at $90 each. That was $1,000, and I mean, they don't have it just as a curb stop. It's in the parts that you, which is probably why he doesn't want to go with them again. I think there were some issues, but, so it's in pieces, but 1,357.20 is, a chunk of that.
So we had like 100 curb stops or something,
15
15. Oh, 15.
times $90.
Okay. Right, okay. Okay,
Okay, can Deborah
Thank you.
continue, please?
yes,
Want me to
yes.
continue? Okay, so page 5, that third item down, dive core, $18,150.
Now, is that just for inspection
No,
on those
That was-
invoices?
partially for inspection and so there was $7,000 was inspection. Oh, actually, 7,000 and 7,000. So one was inspection of, I think, 4 tanks. The other 7,350 was another 4 tanks. And then patching was 3,450.
Okay,
And we were only able to patch
that's a lot, okay,
2 tanks. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe we're only able to patch 2 tanks, and that's why the tanks are gonna come up later in the agenda. So, yeah, here it
Okay.
is. It's, so inspection for Forest, Elm, McGee, and Wolf was $73.50. Inspection for, Pine 1, Pine 2, Sam Young, and Well 5 was $7,350. The inspection of the 2 pines, the Sam Young and Well 5, those were the ones that didn't have as many issues. And then the other inspection found problems. And then there was work performed on Forest, only on Forest tank. So it was just 1 steel tank, patch the column, patch the wall drip, 3,450.
okay.
Okay, on to
Thank you.
page 7, second item down, P and J Electric, $9,987.36. And then the last item on page 7, Southern California Edison, $7,338.34.
So just a note on SoCal Edison, it went up another $1,000 in 1 month. And Johnny sent a bunch of letters that he shared with me, I guess because of the project committee. And I mean, a lot of it is because we're spending extra money right now on boosting stuff because of what's going on. And he did try to get them to adjust or figure out, because we were getting adjustments before, and this gentleman basically said that there wasn't much he could do. So it's looking like Edison's gonna be very expensive, and we're definitely on the plan that looks at the 4 to 9, I think it is, times, and charges more for that. So he did try to ask them if we could be put back on something else. He asked them a bunch of stuff. And I was just gonna read you this one little part. He sent them to rate analysis. The results are attached. There weren't really large savings. Johnny asked them some other stuff in regard to how they were charging us. And he basically sent us a whole thing, but said because there aren't significant savings to be found in rate changes similar to what we may have found for you in the past. They can test our pumps and stuff like that, but he didn't really feel like there's no cost for that, but he didn't really feel like it was going to be a return for us, much of a return. But just so you know, that's gone way up and will probably continue to go up.
Okay, can Deborah continue now?
Okay.
That was the last extraordinary item on the list.
Okay, I had two questions.
Okay, Roma, go ahead.
So, the P and J, so we spent $10,000 and that was like installing the analyzer, I assume. Now, there's more work, there's more work to be done, correct?
Yes, not
Okay,
necessarily. from
so now we're at
P&G,
about,
It's, a lot of the work is gonna be Ness now, so we're waiting for Ness he's supposed to come and do some additional work. And
okay,
that will allow us to.
all right. So
that will allow us-
we spent, so basically on the nitrate analyzer, we spent about 40,000 so far. Between buying it and having the electrical work done.
I believe
Okay.
it's more than.
Um,
Are you tracking?
Okay, Tiffany,
Yes,
I would like you to make a note, because I would like to ask Johnny, or unless it's on there. $3,400 seems a lot for just patching at the El Cajon Pharmacy. I mean, that's one small little area. Is there a
Oh.
reason why that cost is so high?
I believe we went through that, with Johnny. It was 3,000 something just to have the two guys stand and do their little stop sign thing, the traffic control. And then we had to have them come in and do the patchwork, which was another, almost 4,000.
Looks beautiful
So
though.
just to do one little patch.
What, that one little area,
They charge $3,400.
yes.
And.
Are they the
and-
only patching people that,
And not only that, but we had to hire
ahead.
traffic control and that cost us another 4,000 something. Or let's see. it
yeah, I
cost
know,
us-
I was aware of the traffic control.
Yeah, California parking and whatever it is, 3,400 was part of that charge, and the other part of that charge. I think.
The reason why I asked is because we've
California
patched,
and yeah.
we've patched several. The
Johnny says there's a
reason
new
why
guy.
I asked,
Yeah,
what's that?
Johnny says there's a new guy down in the county. And he's got to send him drawings and how far down we have to dig and all of that before he even approves the fact that we can go in and dig. And then he also has to approve who we're gonna hire to patch.
And we had to get them on the same day we could get traffic control people, because we had to have very stringent traffic control because of these new requirements
Right.
that we couldn't do ourselves.
Okay, the reason why I had the question, it seems like we patched several different areas all over Fraser Park, and we've only spent like $5,000 or something. And so I'm assuming we just did this one. It just seems a little exorbitant to me. That's the only reason I had a question.
It was,
We asked, we thought so too.
Okay, and the last thing that I have a question for, I was looking at the reconciliation for the gas, which is going to come up next month. It's already at $1,800. for next month, there's a charge on there for $550. Is that, do we know if that's for the dump truck or what is that $550 charge for?
Oh, we.
Oh,
Because
have-
that seems like
The
awful
real,
high.
On Voyager?
yeah, no, it was for, Johnny's truck. And he filled the back with diesel. It was a diesel charge, even though it said fuel. We fixed that with Deborah and it got changed to diesel because now we're breaking it down for the budget committee into fuel, diesel, so gas, diesel and
Propane.
propane. Because the charge was kind of high and we didn't know why. And it's because it was not only Johnny's truck, but it was that back pump, diesel filling station that he has, the portable one on his truck.
Okay. All right, because that seemed like a really high charge. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's all. That's all I had questions on. Thank you.
Okay,
Good catch.
yeah, thank you, Brahma. So are we ready to make a motion to pay our bills?
You guys want?
Deborah, you finished, right?
Yeah, Deborah's good.
I'm done.
Okay,
Okay, I'd like to
I'm-
move the.
I make a motion that, oh, okay, go ahead.
No,
I'm
you do
sorry.
it. It's better
Go
you
ahead.
do it. I was on the, you do it.
I make a motion that we pay our bills.
can I get
I'll
a
second that.
Okay,
Thank you.
roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
I,
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson, I, 500. Discussion vote on increases and uses for the capital improvement fund. Who's that?
okay, well, I can take a stab at it. So we have other things that we're gonna need to use the capital improvement fund for, and if we pass our resolution tonight, which is a later item, it will ask us to put away a little bit more money than what we've been putting away. So, so I guess the vote is on, increasing that amount. Right now, we're taking out 20,000 a month. We're taking from operating revenue and putting that in our capital reserve. Our capital improvement reserve. We have a couple reserves, but in our CHIP, as they call it, or SIP. So that one is what we're probably going to need to use on our 2 tanks. I think the tanks that are gonna come up later on the agenda as well are going to be, we got a quote from Curtis. I believe it's probably around 300, between 250 and 300,000 per tank, not including whatever engineering and other costs. That's just the tank and the pad, and not the other potential costs that are associated with it. So right now, do you know what's in there, Brahma? Director Lyman? He's having a-
I think it's $873,000.
So, yeah, it's around 800. I think if we end up doing the 2 tanks, it's gonna pretty much take it down to close to 0. So, probably in order to be able to build it back up a little bit more quickly, and it's supposed to, if you guys remember what David Hosley was saying, is that account is supposed to go up and down. It's a fluid account, and it's supposed to be there to fix exactly what's happening with us, something that's not gonna be covered by grants, because those tanks are too old to get like an emergency grant or something like that, or something fast enough, probably to cover them before we actually end up with a major leak or something. But at $20,000 a month, we're probably not gonna sock away money fast enough to get the next thing that comes up. And we use part of that money for the Wolf tank as well.
We've also been using it for the nitrate analyzer.
No, I think we used the SLE for the nitrate analyzer. I can't remember.
So what
So I'm not the treasurer now.
What are you proposing that we increase it to if we're taking out 20K now a month? What?
I think we would need Deborah for that to give us an idea of how, what our average operating O&M costs are and how much money we have above that every month. Like we expended 77,000 this month and we had, I probably can look it up, but I don't know. I didn't bring my bank accounts with me. We would just need to look in the
Beginning
capital.
balance, we had 176,000.
So 176,000, so we still had about 100,000 left, is that correct, Deborah?
In which,
In our operating
Operating.
revenue?
our operating revenue, well, at the end of June. Oh, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the balance is today. I know that it was at the end of June, looking at this report, we had roughly 179,000. But I
And
don't
this is
have
the
the
first
current
big,
figure in front of me.
right, but this is the first big payout in July, and we paid out 77,000, but we also have an automatic transfer into each of the reserves. So probably, I'd say we're probably at like 150,000 or something with the 20,000 that's going out, so we probably had 20,000 above that.
Well, if we had 179 and we took out 77.
Right, but that's
that's-
not counting the reserve
And,
accounts.
and that's 40, another 40,000. So we'd only have 60,000 left.
Right,
Yeah.
but that builds up
No.
again.
Right.
Next time
No,
we get
because,
money.
because coming to this day, because that figure is the end of month, and where we're at today has continued to get revenue coming in. So we're writing checks today at 79,000. The balance can be a lot higher because you've had 11 days of income coming in. Or
What
13
would
days,
you-
whatever the date is today.
What would you suggest as a, go into the,
Well, I
I
think
was wondering
we could do, David Hastley, didn't he suggest, in order for us to really meet what we were supposed to meet, I believe he said $30,000 a month. And so I'm thinking that we should approve 30,000 and then we could see how it goes. If we have to transfer something back 1 month, or we have to, we can deal with it at that time. I think that because normally we don't have these high, we're not having $80,000 or $90,000. I mean, we just had $18,000, or really $27,000, the nitrate stuff, and then you had $18,000 of just checking the wells. That is not a normal charge on a normal basis.
right. Nor is the leak,
So I
spending,
suggest,
7,000 on a leak.
I'm trying to look right now to see what he put.
that's true.
If I can find it.
I seem to remember him saying $30,000.
I vaguely remember that too, but I'm looking if I can find it. I see where he's talking about it, but I don't see the. I just, let's say, I don't see it here. But, I'd be okay with 30,000.
Well, I will make a motion
So,
that we, start.
Yes, Director Nyman?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was waiting for her to make the motion.
Sorry, Director Kelly.
Okay, I will make a motion that we now start putting 30,000 a month in our capital improvement fund
And starting in
And-
August,
and starting in August.
Okay, can I get a second for that motion?
I will second that motion.
Very good. Roll call, directors. Director Garcia,
I,
Director Nyman,
I,
Director Schoenberg,
I,
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson's an I, 500. Motion carried. Discussion vote on resolution FP 20220714-01, establishing procedures for a Proposition 218 majority protest hearing and calling for a majority protest hearing on a proposed increase in the district-based water rate and administrative fees. I thought we just did it.
we didn't do the resolution. We were waiting
Oh,
to
okay.
do it tonight, and also, I think we just need to mention how many letters actually came. Which I don't remember.
We had seven protest letters from the public.
Oh, Carlos is here.
Someone want to read the, do we need to read this? Ella?
Hi, this is Veronica and Juan Carlos.
I don't think,
Hacienda Salcido.
Okay.
thank you. I don't think we need to read the whole resolution. I think that we could just approve it accordingly. I mean, it's
Okay, I'm
awful
just
long.
gonna, I'm gonna just, what do you call it? Summarize what happened. So on, we had a public, educational meeting, which happened, on, in June on the 25th. And at that meeting, we had only 2 members of the public. Those 2 members of the public were able to ask questions, were able to voice their issues. And at that time, we concluded that meeting because we had another meeting, the actual protest hearing itself. That happened on July 7th, I believe.
Yes.
And so on July 7th, we had, I don't know, more, do you know how many members of the public? I think we had about
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
about 14 members of the public.
Really?
Again, they expressed their, were able to ask questions, were able to express their issues. One of the biggest issues that came up was that renters didn't have a say, but they did, because we basically told them that even though legally we could only consider property owners, that we were going to take into account if there were enough renters that we would find a way to take that into account. But because there were only 7 protest letters in total, it's kind of a moot point to worry about. So the other issues that came up mostly had to do with water quality itself and not with the actual rate adjustment. So because when I think the public realized what a small amount was being adjusted, that was not as big of an issue as their much greater concerns about water quality and
Drinkability.
and what?
Drinkability.
Drinkability, and general affordability. So, so that kind of summarizes that we did send out, there was a protest, not in writing, but in verbally, that the one family never got the notice, but we did send out notices to every renter and property owner. So they did go out. I'm not sure what happened with them, but they were given a copy of everything. And yeah, so I'm gonna move that before the Board of Directors of the Fraser Park Public Utility District, resolution number FP 20220714-01 in the matter of resolution establishing procedures for a Proposition 218 majority protest hearing and calling for a majority protest hearing on a proposed increase in the district's base water rate and administrative fees. I move that we adopt what was proposed by RCAC and given to us as the rate study.
I will second that.
Roll call.
I'll second
Directors,
that.
Director Garcia,
Okay,
Aye.
Director Nyman. Director Nyman,
aye.
I'm doing a roll call, Director. okay.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Kelly,
I,
Gibson's aye. 500. Okay, are we done with Deborah then?
Let me just double check. Thought there was, let's see, we're able to do all this. We're still waiting until 7:30 for.
Getting close.
Okay, placements. That's,
Thank you,
yeah, I think we're done.
Deborah, we're
Yes.
finished
Thank you,
with you.
Deborah.
We appreciate it.
You're done
have a
with
good
me?
night, Deborah.
Thank you. You
No,
have a
just
good
for a minute.
evening.
Just for
Me
me.
too, only momentarily. We need you desperately.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
Okay, number 11, discussion vote on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods.
Okay, so
consolidation project.
all of these we put off until after 7:30, so that's 11, 12, 13, and 15.
Okay, so could we do
Dee's
this?
gonna have to
We can
tell
do
us.
Oh, no, Dee's gonna have to tell us 14
14
also,
too.
so I made a mistake on that.
So
So,
we just
and
have
then
to
we
go into-
tabled the employee handbook, so we are now on 17, discussion vote on repair replacement of district water tanks.
Okay. So
Who's got
we
that
have some
information?
emails in our packet from Eway, from Johnny talking with Curtis about this. Does anyone want to speak on it?
I've just been following all of this, and I know that we have some real issues with with at least 2 tanks, potentially 3, but definitely 2. I do think that we're gonna need to take the money, as previously discussed, out of the capital improvement fund. And I think that we have enough to move forward on this. I did want to get some idea of what additional costs would be, but I think just in, so the question was, do we want to repair these tanks or replace these tanks? So the big issue with repairs is that the repairs are going to be extremely complicated on at least one of the tanks, if not both. And that's because on one, there isn't really an easy way to remove the water and be able to empty the tank. We would need to empty the tank in order to replace it. I mean, to repair it. So that's one of the issues that's gonna come up. And the other thing that might come up is that we definitely would need this if we did a repair. We would definitely probably need to rent another tank, a temporary tank. I don't know if we necessarily have to do the same thing if we do a replacement. And that's because we could potentially, depending on when the replacement happens, we could potentially kind of go around the tanks, hopefully, and be able to still, and that's questions for D. So we probably shouldn't really address this without D. But I'm just of the mind that we're gonna need to move forward with actual replacement. And the other issue is that you can't really put the cathode protection that we put in. It works great on new tanks, but if you already have any issue on the tank, it actually accelerates the decay of the tank.
Of the rust, huh?
Yeah, so, and the
And aren't the
actual,
tank,
Yes, Nyman?
yeah, I was just gonna say, I believe one of the ones was Elm Tank, and I think we had room on the property that we could replace that tank next to it. And the fact that these tanks are like something like 65 years old. So my opinion is that they've lived their lifetime. And so I'm of the opinion that we start working on replacing the tanks one at a time as we can do so.
although it's usually less expensive to replace more than one at a time because you don't have the mobilization, demobilization issues, but that's something we can consider. But I definitely think we should move forward on at least getting quotes and everything to replace them.
What kind of a time frame does something like that take, replacing a tank? Man hours and,
I'm trying to remember what it took us last time, but we had a big company with multiple people on it, so.
Do we need the engineer to redesign a tank and where it's going to
Yeah,
go? And
is that, that's what's included in this, right?
No, so
that's above and beyond
the
that.
price that was being quoted is for the tank itself and or close to what the tank might be itself and for the padding of the tank. It's not for any extra environmental stuff we have to get. It's not for engineering. It's not for any of that stuff. It's just for the construction.
Do we need electrical engineering as well?
Yeah, so we
So
would
you
have
could
to
add at least
reconnect the
$50,000 to
split
$100,000.
At least, yeah,
Per tank or altogether?
Per tank.
probably per tank.
Do you have your hand up, Director Shaw?
No, rusty.
So what do we do with number 17?
So I think probably we need to put 17 on the next.
Go ahead.
Which director was that?
Well, I was gonna say,
Nyman.
Nyman, I would make a motion that we proceed with quotes and discussion on which tanks we should replace, and that we should have the engineer give us an estimate as to his cost for proceeding forward.
Timeline, right. Can I make a friendly amendment to that to add timeline and other
Sure.
Considerations such as environmental? And also, so your motion is that we're going to replace and not repair.
That we're going to
Is that
replace
your
and not
motion?
repair, and that we should,
Okay,
I will
that
second
motion.
that motion. Oh, did you
Okay.
second it, Jerry?
Yes, I did.
I think Jerry's.
Jerry seconded. Okay, roll call director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
is there a time delay?
Uh-huh.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kellen,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 500, motion carried. Okay, thank you. Discussion vote on the contract with Resolute HR Services, number 18. So I believe this company has taken over PAAS. Is it time for our contract to renew, or are we renewing because they changed companies?
It's time for the contract.
So do any directors have any ideas about this, or if Johnny was here, Director Schoenberg?
So I'm of the mind that we should not renew the contract with Resolute, which used to be PAS. And that is because almost everything that we have done with them, we have still had to take to our attorney. I mean, there has been some helpful stuff that Johnny was able to do, but it's gotten so complicated with most of what's going on with us. Both employee issues when we have them, tend to be really complicated as opposed to simple stuff that they can answer. I think Johnny has most of the answers he needs for the simple stuff. And then our handbook, we weren't able to finish with them because, so there's 3 separate contracts, actually. There's a handbook contract, which I definitely do not think we should renew. And because we spent money and we never got a handbook, and that's our fault too, but I don't think we should pursue that further. Our hotline, I don't believe has been used, and we said we were gonna revisit it in
I
a
thought
few
we
months.
stopped it.
We stopped.
Oh, it's stopped. So the hotline's already stopped. And then the main contract with them for the actual HR services, while we have been using them and having some good discussions with them, that Johnny's been able to, get paperwork and stuff from them, but I think we've had to run so much by our attorney anyway that we probably should just, that's just my opinion, that we should just go with the attorney and not, I think a big reason we got them was so that there was the employee hotline and a way to be there if employees were having issues, and our employees have, there's been a whole change of employees, and now this set of employees is interested more in getting the handbook answers, is from what I heard. And so I think that we need to just move forward with the handbook, and that does need to be done with our attorney ultimately.
Well, I thought we had passed it mainly because we don't have an HR
Right,
department, but we're so small.
we passed it because we were having a lot of issues that we thought could be resolved by HR, but I don't think in the end, we still had to go to the attorney for all those issues. That's just my personal opinion, so.
Do any other directors have a thought on this or question? Director Garcia, is that you? Do you have a question?
No, I agree with everything Director Schoenberg has said. They have not really lived up to our expectations, and
I
had to
don't
run
know about
everything
that.
through our. We've had to run everything
Sorry,
through our.
that's not exactly what I
Thing.
said. Yeah, but I didn't say they didn't live up to expectations. I just think that we've had to double check everything. So I think any HR firm recommends that you double check with your attorney, and our issues have been difficult enough, complicated enough that we've had to check with the attorney. So I don't think that when issues come up, because we're a very small public company, they tend to be complicated, and I think we tend to end up going to the attorney anyway. So I think that we have a good relationship with them. I don't want to diss our relationship with them. I think if we needed them again in the future, that we could go back and hire them again. But I think just at this point, we're going through the attorney so much that we may as well just go straight to the attorney.
Director Kelly, do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree that everything that we passed through them, Johnny's then had to take it to the attorney, and it's kind of,
And Director Nyman, are we ready to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think that, you know, they were a good, service for the time that we were having some, you know, issues, but, ultimately, we did have to take everything to the attorney, so it's like paying twice, so to me, it's kind of a moot point. As far as the, handbook is concerned, I feel like that particular part did not live up to our expectations, and so I think we should, not renew the contract.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion?
I will move that we do not renew the contract between FPPUD and
Resolute.
and Resolute HR Services.
Okay, someone want to second it? Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schellenberg,
I,
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson's and I 5-0-0. Moving on, discussion vote on 2022 board election consolidated with Kern County.
Yeah.
Is that you, Tiffany?
Yeah, I put the information from Kern County in the book. To summarize it, seat 2, Rebecca Gibson, seat 4, Lisa Schoenberg, and seat 5, Terry Kelly, which I did correct when I sent the form in, Director Kelly.
Yeah, I saw appointed on there and I was like, no, I was voted in, but that's okay.
Right. No, I corrected that too. You were not appointed and your name is not Tim. So I did correct that.
Oh, yes.
Are up for reelection in the November election. I did send back the forms to consolidate with Kern County's general election. And if you read the form, let's see, declaration of candidacy forms will be available by appointment or email request. And there's the email address, and it'll be from July 18th through August 12th. So
You
that's
don't have to
your,
go in person?
they're saying to do it by email
Yeah.
or make an appointment to come in person.
That is so easy.
It starts Monday.
Okay. So it's ladies' night.
is there anything we need to specifically do on this?
No, I just figured I could cover it so I can talk
Yeah.
to all 3 of you at once.
Thank you.
So
And if you
we,
need any help or have any questions, we can always work with you.
So how soon before we know somebody's running?
by the deadline, so it would be August, whatever that.
By August 12th,
Okay.
and you can always call them too. Last
Yeah.
time when Director Garcia and Director Nyman were running, they called them and they would say, oh, someone has or hasn't filed to run against you. So they're pretty open about it, but you'll know for sure by the deadline, August 12th, whether or not
Okay.
anybody has filed. But if you want to run again, all 3 of you will have to refile.
I'll run again and hope that my hearing aid gets fixed.
And hope what?
My hearing aid gets fixed.
What?
How about you, Director Schellenberg? You running again? Yes, you are. Director Kelly, of course you are, right?
Of course, yes.
I mean, what else would you do with your Thursday nights and quite frankly, the rest of your week? You know, you're taking care of this little town and that's a big deal. Very much appreciated by the people in this room. At least. Okay, so can we move on?
Yes.
Number 20, discussion vote on the biennial review of the conflict of interest code.
Well, that's another Tiffany.
Another to be, yep, this came up. I did email the attorney, gave him a copy of the conflict of interest code. Since we haven't had any changes, there's no reason to change the code. So you would just need to vote to respond with no changes to the county.
So we could do that tonight?
Yeah, if you're comfortable.
So what do we do?
So if we're okay with our current conflict of interest code, we just need to have a motion saying that we would submit to the county our current code with no changes. We're okay with submitting our current code with no changes.
Was that a motion?
I make a,
Uh-huh. Director
I
Nyman?
make a motion that we submit our current conflict of interest code to the county with no changes.
I'll second that.
Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson's an aye, 500. 21, discussion vote on resolution FP 2022-0714-02, resolution authorizing Kern County to act as FPPUD's agent in the collection of assessment taxes for the 2022-2023 tax year.
So I did submit our standby fees, which came out to just a little bit over $6,000. And I submitted our 6-month delinquent accounts to the county, which also came out to just over $6,000. The delinquents are listed in the resolution as an appendix or addenda. Exhibit A of the resolution is the list of the accounts submitted for delinquent accounts. So the final part of the special assessments is passing the resolution authorizing them to collect the special assessments, which is the standby fees and the delinquent accounts.
He's on board. Well, can we just make a motion to,
That's one down.
Director Schoenberg?
So I'd like to move that we adopt before the Board of Directors of Fraser Park Public Utility District Resolution Number FP 2022-0714-02 in the matter of water availability or standby charges assessment, delinquent accounts assessment, resolution authorizing Kern County to act as FPPUD's agent in the collection of assessment taxes for the 2022-2023 tax year.
I will second that motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call of Director Garcia. We're doing
Aye.
a vote. Director Garcia, Director
Aye.
Nyman, Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson's aye, 500.
And who's the seconder on that motion, Director Gibson?
Wasn't, Kelly was, I believe.
We have a really
okay.
bad delay with you, Director Nyman, and so we're hearing you like a little bit late every time.
Okay,
He must be hearing it too, right?
Uh-huh. That's why I've got a little roll here.
what
Okay. D Jasper. I thought I saw D up there. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we were holding off on any items that pertain to you, Dee. I think at this time we should try to contact our attorney.
Okay, so I sent him the Zoom link,
Uh-huh.
Okay,
so.
I just said we would call him when it was about time to, actually, you know what? Why don't we do, we don't need him for 11 or 12, it comes up on 12. So we could do 11 first and
And
then
then have,
contact them.
and then you can have.
Okay,
I just don't want to contact them.
While we're doing it.
If I could, I need just a minute. I'm losing control of my mouse here. The battery's dying. And pretty soon I won't be able to switch between video and, in fact, I think I am there. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a new battery in this thing.
maybe we should take a break.
Yeah,
Someone want to make that motion?
I will move that we take a 5-minute break.
Did I get a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson, I 500. We are going to take a break at 7:31 for 5 minutes. This is challenging.
Okay, I'm back. Hello?
We're on a break for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Quick break, Dee.
Okay, it went silent. I thought maybe I had a bigger problem than just the mouse.
Yeah, Dee, my dog got attacked at the park yesterday by 2 German shepherds.
Oh,
And
really?
I had to rush. Yeah, I had to rush Bakersfield Animal Hospital.
Did,
They had to put staples in her chest.
wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, loose dogs in Fraser Park. You
Yep.
know, people
Yep.
they don't keep their dogs. You know, so I have no idea who the owners are or anything. So that's a $800 bill.
Yeah, that's, animal control should, it's too bad that we don't have enough funding for animal control, I guess, because they sure seems to be a lot of those loose animals around now.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I reported it, but it doesn't really matter.
yeah. Yeah, how
Because
did
they're like,
you,
well, do you know who the owner is? You know,
yeah,
so
how did you get your dog separated from them? That's pretty tough to do.
I I was kicking at one and screaming so loud, then they both backed up, and then I started throwing rocks at them,
Mhm,
and then they ran away.
yeah,
And then I found that I didn't realize that she was hurt till I got her home, and then I found she had 2 like inch gashes on her chest, and so I had to rush her. And luckily, there was no internal damage.
mhm.
So
Yeah, that's no fun. And
now
certainly
she's having to no.
I had a situation where many years ago, this is probably 15 years ago or 20, 25, I was running down I ran in the morning and I ran by a house that a bunch of dogs had just gathered at. They weren't their dogs, but I ran by them and I thought, oh boy, there's probably 6 or 7. Man, when I turn around and come back, I better have some rocks in my hand. And so I picked up some and I turned around and headed back. As I ran by the dogs, they started coming after me. And I threw a rock and it skipped on the sidewalk and hit the neighbor's house, their window. But I couldn't do anything. I had to run off. The dogs were were momentarily diverted. So I had to leave. And then when I went to work that morning, I drove by their house and the neighbor's wife was out there looking at the window, and I had to stop and say, hey, it was me. I hit your window with a rock, but fortunately it didn't do much damage. So that was okay. But always pays to have some rocks.
Nowadays, you hit a window with a rock, it's dual pane, it's very expensive.
Yeah. This was in the 70s, so simpler times.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Calling, should I tap this again? Calling the meeting back to order at 7:39. Director Schoenberg,
I would like to move that we adjust the agenda one more time in the interest of getting our attorney in the interest of the
He's right
our
here.
visitor from CNC and our attorney. I'd like to adjust the agenda to go to 12D first, which would be discussion vote on the access easement through the, it says sale, but it's the CNC property.
Is that what it is, CNC?
CNC. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
okay, roll call,
I
Director.
second
Director-
that.
Is Director Berg? Okay, Director Nyman? Director Garcia?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Gibson, I 500, motion carried. So now
12D.
12D, discussion vote on access easement through CNC property.
So I don't know if it would be best, Alan, so there's been some discussion and Johnny's wasn't able to be here because of some
Medical
anyway, Johnny
reasons.
wasn't able to be here. Yes, medical reasons. So we invited Carlos, who Johnny has been in touch with in terms of signing off on an access easement through, it says on the Saya property, but it's now CNC property. And so we also asked our attorney, Alan Dowd, to be here just to help us to explain things. And also Dee has knowledge on this. So I think we wanted to just clear up sort of informational of what's been going on and what's needed and how we can move ahead.
Who's gonna start? Dee, do you know what's going on?
I could probably, I think maybe the best thing to do would be for me to share my screen and explain just what we're after here. And, you know, just clear up hopefully any questions that Carlos might have regarding what it is that we're doing. So I think if I can, Tiffany, if I can share my screen.
It's open.
Okay. This is a diagram of the proposed easements. There really are, let me get myself back on the screen here. There's a temporary access easement. It involves about half an acre of land, and it starts right at the entrance, the drive approach, 30 feet wide and about 755 feet long. And it goes all the way to the edge of the well 5, projected property line of well 5. And it is for access for drilling equipment and the drilling crew. The reason for the easements, maybe go back to step 1 here. We're replacing well number 5, and well number 5 is up near the tank. If you, Carlos, if you can see what we're dealing with here. Well 5,
Yeah, by here.
right up next to the tank. And it is in really bad shape. It's an old casing. We patched it about 3 years ago, spent about $80,000 on that. And we patched the worst places, but we know that there are others, and we're hoping that it'll last long enough for us to get the replacement well in. The replacement well then is a replacement for that well, and it is located at the south end of the control building, control/pump building, and you'll see that there. I've got an arrow pointed to it, and that's where the replacement well will be. It will be on well 5 property. The problem is that we have power lines on the west side of that property that hinder the well drilling equipment. And so we need to get the well drilling equipment onto the east side of that property so the well can be drilled. So what we're asking for here is a temporary construction easement for drilling a replacement well, and that's about 1/3 of an acre, and you see it kind of enclosed by dashed lines or dotted lines there. And then we need the access easement to get the drilling equipment in. And so that's what the 2 temporary easements are for. Once we start the project, I doubt if it'll be 60 days, but it could be. You know, if we get the well drilled sooner than that, and we're hoping within 30, but we don't know for sure, and you never know until you actually start the drilling operation. But it would be temporary for 30 or so, 60 or so days. Also, there's an area where we need to spread the water, the test water from the well. When we drill with water from the formations that we're drilling through. And once we get done with the process, we haul off the cuttings, but we need to test pump the well and develop it. And so what happens is after the well is drilled, then we put a test pump in that well and we pump it for a day or so at different rates of flow in order to clear all the sand and any material that might have gotten into the well, and to develop the annular gravel pack that's around the outside of the steel casing. And so we do that for a couple of days until we get it. The water is clear. It might have some sand in it. We want to make sure we get all that out. And then we pump it for a day or two to determine just what the actual production rate can be without interfering with the wells that are near it, like yours. And so we do some test pumping, might be a week's worth or 7 days at different rates, so we can determine just what rate we can use and do it safely so that we don't cause any interference with the neighbors' wells. So that's the whole reason for it. The whole operation should take around no more than 60 days, but I want to add a little caveat, and that is well casing and really all types of construction materials are very hard to get, as you probably know. And so if we do have a delay in the delivery of any of the materials that we need to construct the well, it may stretch it a little bit longer. So that's really the situation. We had Valbridge property managers do an appraisal of the temporary easement, and it came in about $200. The district thought that was a bit low for what we're wanting to use it for, and we raised it up to $1,000. So that's really what we're doing, and the whole reason that we're doing it. And it is a situation where if we lose well 5, that's a drastic loss in capacity for the district. So we prepared a temporary easement form document along with this map, and that has the stipulations in it for our use of your property. And so what we're doing is asking that you sign it and give us access to your property so we can get this well drilled.
So we need to do the temporary, but we're still wanting to buy it, aren't we? No?
So
This is only for a temporary.
the CNC guy, his name is Carlos as well.
Yeah, Carlos from Self-Help is not on this meeting. This is Carlos from, and am I saying it correctly? Carlos is just CNC?
Yeah, I'm Carlos Salcido from CNC Elite Properties. And Veronica Alcaraz, my wife, owner.
Do you have any questions?
Can
Well,
you,
the question,
stop for now, Dee, so we can see?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, let me, I'll stop sharing. Did that do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Veronica Alcrest. I'm the owner of CNC Elite Properties. And I thank you guys for putting this and want to present to the board. So the only reservation that we have, or our main concern is the timeline, because 60 days seems reasonable. I think we're open to, allowing the easement, allowing in and out of the property. Our only concern is that our goal is to do some development and put some kind of a entrance and get some funding for that. So I wouldn't want to do anything that's gonna interfere with being able to obtain funding or a construction loan or anything that's gonna hinder us in any way. So this is why we were saying, does it have to be an easement? Can't we just give you guys a contract saying that you're able to come in and out? So this way, we don't have to present anything that may prevent us from being able to get funding.
That would be for, I think, for our attorney.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Well, a couple thoughts. One is, and Carlos and Veronica, nice to meet you. And we don't attribute our challenges in the past with the previous owner to you. But when I think we started down this road, we thought we needed to get an easement. So we had something recorded because of what you'll recall happened last summer, where we ended up in court to enforce a license that we had already paid for. So now that the property has changed hands and we're working with someone more cooperative, I think that maybe we could do like a license agreement, but we would need to make some arrangement to ensure that we can be on there to complete the work. I think that, you know, the temporary easement is worded so by its very terms, it terminates as soon as the work is complete. So whether we do the easement or we do a license, I think it's fine. But whatever it is, we would just, like I said, need to complete the work. And I think, you know, Dee, you were talking about availability of materials. You know, I don't know how, if there's a delay, you know, what that would mean. I don't know how much you can foresee, Dee, about, you know, could we disappear for a while during the delay and then come back and finish? I don't know the logistics of all of that.
That would be very difficult. We'll try to get all the really the items that will be really of concern will be the casing for the well. And we really don't know how much perforated casing we're going to need or the slot size, the size of the openings in the casing until we actually drill the well and find out what the lithology is. And so, you know, at that time, then we get the casing prepared for insertion into the well. We'll do everything that we can to get the casing on site and get it on site in time so that there is no delay, because we really, from our standpoint, delays really are bad when you're drilling a well. And once you get the hole in the ground, you know, there are methods that we can use to keep the hole open, but the longer that hole is open without casing in it and without gravel around it, the higher risk we have of that hole collapsing. And then we have to re-drill it. You know, we do everything that we can to get that casing on site as quickly as we can. But I just want to caution Veronica, you and Carlos that you know, there can be some delays, and it wouldn't be, I would hope it wouldn't be more than several days or a week, but we can't control that. All we can do is get everything as much as we can before we start, which is what we're going to try to do.
No, and we completely understand that.
Would
I
you
feel
say,
like,
Dee, that
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Veronica.
No, I was gonna say I completely understand that, and we know construction can take time, right? There's things that are unknown. I feel like if it's not an easement and it's only some kind of an agreement, that I think it'll be easier for us on our end to move forward with the plans that we have for the property. My next, I guess, I'm not sure if we need to table this or if there's something that you guys need to vote or motion on, but I just want to get a little bit more also a clarification. earlier you voted on replacing the 2 wells. Is this one of the 2 wells that will be replaced
No.
and not repaired?
No,
uh,
we were voting on tank.
On
It
tape.
was not a well, it was a tank.
Oh, tanks. Got it. Okay. Sorry. We got on the call a little late. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And then I guess, is there a way, because we're willing to work with you, maybe we can meet on the property, and that way I guess my other thing is there a way that we can create a separate entrance for you guys on the side of the property? That way it's not, having to go all the way around through the entrance that we currently have.
That would be up to the highway department. The county pretty much controls what you can do from getting entrances that already established. We can check with them, Veronica, and see what we can do. Maybe get the entrance a little bit closer. That's a real high-speed highway there, and quite dangerous actually. And there is a protected entrance lane at your entrance. And then as we go further to the west, it disappears. So we can
I
ask,
see.
certainly. Can.
Okay. Because I think for future and for anything else that would be needed for that well, I think it would just make it easy, right? And we would love to make everything like as easy as possible, because we plan to have this property for a long time. So whatever we can do to kind of plan for the future, that would be really great.
Veronica and Carlos, it's Alan again. I can appreciate it. Sounds like what you don't want is something encumbering your property, something on title. We've already lost quite a bit of time, and we're going to lose more if I have to go back and redo documents. What's been presented to you is by its nature temporary, and by its terms terminates as soon as construction is done. And so if perhaps talk to your attorney about it. I would not expect you to take what I have to say at face value, but I think what we could do is use the agreements we have. They are temporary. They will terminate upon completion of construction, and we just wouldn't record them.
No, I understand that. The only thing is that every time we go to our attorney for things that we need to allow access to the property, we have to pay for it. So that's more added costs on our end. And then I want to make it as simple as possible, right? I mean, I'm really like thinking about the future, just trying to see. I know we're coming in kind of like at the end of this, but it would be, the easement thing is something that we're not really comfortable with, and I know you're saying it's temporary, but I think I read that it could take up to a year, and we don't want to disturb or stop anything. We want to make sure you guys get whatever is needed and get it replaced, and whatever's going to help the city. But we definitely also don't want our plans to be held off, or not for us not to be able to do anything on the property for a year because we're not able to acquire the funding.
Yeah, my thought on that is, you keep control and possession of all your property, and it would only be the only thing that would preclude you from doing anything would be something that materially interferes with the temporary rights of the district under the easement. So for 60 or 90 days or whatever it is, maybe there's something you couldn't do, but there's no long-term effect from the documents that we've presented.
No, I understand. I know on our end, as long as we don't materially affect what you guys are trying to do on the property, I just don't know. I'd really have to ask our loan officer, and then I guess we will have to go with our attorney and see what they say at this point. I mean, if to try to make it easier on your end, then we'll go on our end and try to look into it a little bit more and see what they advise.
Well, I could rewrite it, and it would be something you would need to run by your attorney anyway, because we're asking for access right to your property. Pardon me. So, I would we always encourage parties we're working with to seek such independent legal counsel as they need to feel comfortable proceeding. So,
And I don't remember if on the agreement, there was anything in regards to covering our costs, if there's costs on our end for allowing this.
we can't do that. There's a prohibition, it's in the California Constitution, against the gift of public funds. So we're not in a position to do that.
Okay, but would that be considered a gift? It should be an expense, right?
It would be.
I see, okay. Okay, so we will find out. I guess you said you're gonna try to rewrite it, and we'll wait for,
Well, wait, did we decide that we're rewriting it? What I'm suggesting is that what you have is in the documents that we presented as an extremely light footprint. And what if we went with those and just didn't record them? So there would be nothing on title, nothing would ever show up on a title report.
right, but I'm still signing something. That's a legal document. that
No, I
would have
know,
to get Notarized, so, I mean, whether it's recorded.
No,
on-
you wouldn't have to notarize it. If we're not recording it, it doesn't need to be notarized. I'm trying to avoid writing this thing. It would, we would end up with substantially the same terms, just under a different document.
So right now, you're saying you'd like to keep everything the way that you currently have it written. And so, right, and then if there's anything that we will need, then we can come back to you guys. Because I honestly, now at this point, I feel like now I would have to go to my counsel and then get them to advise us and go from there.
Yeah, well, I would advise that anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, but what was the 1 year thing? I'm not recalling. I don't have the documents in front of me. What was the 1 year term that you were concerned about?
It was on, I believe, on the letter itself, not the actual document. The document is a temporary easement, but on the actual letter that spoke about well 5 replacing well 7, it said it could take up to a year.
Yeah, what that meant, Veronica, was that we have to engage a well driller, and he has to have a crew available. And so it could be months, we might get our agreement signed today or next week. And then we may be waiting for a couple of months or maybe 3 or 4 in order to get the driller on the site, because they're very busy. And so that's what that term is for. It gives us time to get the guy on site, and we're hoping we can do that within a couple of months, but there's no guarantee that it won't take a little bit longer than that.
Okay. So I understand what you guys are trying to do, and I will then call my attorney tomorrow. We'll discuss it, and if he's pretty much saying the same thing, or it comes out to be the same thing, then I guess we can go ahead and do what you suggested, sign but not record, so it doesn't affect our funding and or moving forward with our trying to get a loan, and then we can go from there.
Director Schomburg?
And then I just have a question for our attorney. Would we still be able to pay? We would, right? Even if it's not recorded as an easement, because we are getting an easement, or would we not be able to pay the $1,000?
You're paying for access, whether you call it an easement or something else.
And that's not a gift of public funding, Veronica, so that would help cover some of your attorney costs, that $1,000 that we'll be paying you to be able to have the easement, be able to have the access.
Oh, okay, that's helpful. Okay.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
So I think that's kind of where we're at right now. We just need to see if they can take this to their attorney. And then, I guess as soon as Johnny's back, if everything was okay, then we would just need the signature, but you're saying, Alan, we would not need it notarized because it's not going to be, recorded?
Correct.
Recorded.
Okay, so as soon as you, as soon as Carlos and Veronica know what their attorney is, says the same thing, then we should be able to get, and once Johnny's back, or one of the board could bring that agreement. I'm looking here, but we're actually here, but could bring that agreement to you to be signed. Or D.
And I think,
And we'll go ahead and try to make this fast as well, so that way we don't take so long.
Yeah, that, our biggest issue is that we already went out to bid a couple of months ago, and so we're probably gonna lose money because we've been waiting quite a while. We're concerned that the pricing has all changed, so we're trying to get the driller as quickly as we can. We just can't guarantee, as Dee was saying, we can't guarantee anything, but it's in our best interest to get the driller as soon as we can.
so as soon as you sign that, Veronica and Carlos, and we have signed copy, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, but we will notify our driller that the site is ready to occupy. And then we'll get him to get us on his schedule. And it could be as early as a couple of weeks if we're lucky, but likely it's going to be a month or two once we give him notice. And hopefully only that.
I do have one other question.
Okay,
Because we would not be, it's a temporary easement, at a later point, Alan, if we needed to fix something that they had to bring a drilling rig in again to well 5, which it was gonna be a temporary easement anyway, but are Carlos and Veronica, are you making changes that would keep us in the future from potentially being able to access in that same area, the well?
Well, yeah, Lisa, let me try to address that. This is limited to what we're trying to do right now. Right? This
Oh, we can
initial,
hear you, Director Diamond.
So you go lay down.
What's that?
We can hear everything you're saying.
um,
go on,
Okay.
Alan, please.
Sorry, I had to bring the dog in.
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
what we're talking about here is just the whatever we're trying to accomplish for the 60 to 90 days. If we need additional access some other time, we would have to revisit that.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess I was just asking if the entrance, is gonna get changed so drastically that we would not be able to ever revisit that. We'd have to figure anyway, it doesn't matter. So let's not worry about that.
A problem for another day?
Yes. Another year.
So where do we go from here?
So so we're good, right, Alan? I think we're done with the discussion, and we have some other stuff for D, but
We have another stuff for Alan too.
oh, wait, we had another question we needed to ask you about something completely different, Alan, before you go away.
Okay.
That was gonna be the book asset and the budget, but we fixed it because we merged it.
Oh, never mind. We fixed it in another way, so we don't have to ask that question at least tonight. It had to do with ad hocs, but we found a workaround.
Okay.
So thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
Good thing. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you so much for coming at the last minute,
Of course.
and
Thank you, Carlos.
thank you.
And
Carl.
Veronica.
And Veronica.
Okay, so I think we can.
You.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a good night.
Thank you, you too. Okay, so I think
Back to
we're back to 11 then.
Okay, discussion vote on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. Discussion vote on production well property appraisals.
So
Dee?
actually, you know what? I think we need to, again, most of this is going to be tabled. It was my fault when I did the initial table, so I would like to move that we table A, B, A and B and D and E. And I think actually we don't have Carlos or anybody here, so also F. So the only one that we can really discuss is C, the sphere of influence. So I'd like to move that we table A, B, D, E, and F of item 11.
Can I get
I will second that.
roll call of directors? Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, I 500. So C, discussion vote on district sphere of influence map for the annexation.
So I know, Dee, we were supposed to get together. You said you were working on the sphere. We had gotten together with Joan once and we were supposed to get together again, but you were working on a map. And then also there were some questions that you were gonna ask about boundaries. And I don't know if you got to those or not.
And we did. We have our draftsman working on it, Johnny Thomason, and he gave me an outline of really what he's planning to do, and I authorized him to go ahead and get that done. So it should be in our hands next week, probably by midweek anyway. So he's moving ahead on it, and it'll identify the Forest Service properties on a map that on our standard map that we use for our annexation. So, you know, we can look at the properties that we plan to annex and then the properties that will surround that being the sphere of influence. So we'll be able to discuss that hopefully next week.
Okay, do we want, well, we kind of need Johnny here too, but I was just wondering if we want to set a date, if possible, or if you want to do that separately on a email or something.
I think probably on an email,
Okay.
Lisa. Once I get the map in, then we're, you know, just getting this together.
Okay, and I believe we aren't voting on it yet, but I believe Director Nyman will be coming back on the project ad hoc, but that's not gonna happen until we can do a vote on at our planning meeting.
That'd be the
So-
next
But
planning meeting.
I just want to get an okay from all the directors. If it's okay also with Director Garcia, that Director Nyman be able to be a part of that sphere of influence discussion with Joan and Johnny.
Absolutely.
No problem. How about you,
No
Terry?
problem.
Okay, so as long as you're better at that point, Brahma, so we'll just make sure that that's the case. Or maybe we can do Zoom again if we need to.
Okay,
But we'll
I'm
wait.
recovering from COVID, D.
Yeah, I hope that it wasn't too bad a case. It's getting to be more and
No,
more
it wasn't,
frequent.
yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. Thank
So I-
God.
So I think that's all we can do right now. We just, what was the second, one of the things was the forest boundaries, but there was another boundary question. Oh, it was the Kern County. So you also have that, D? It was what parts of our property might accidentally, you know, where the boundaries are for Kern all along our property, as well as Ventura, as well as we don't encroach with LA, but I don't think, but it was Kern, Ventura, and LA, just in case.
We'll put those boundaries on, Lisa.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, are we done with C? Is there any more discussion on it?
No,
And nothing to vote on? So,
12.
number
Well,
12.
I've got a question. You-
Oh, yes, Terry?
Just because you said that it's LA, Ventura, and Kern, isn't all of Fraser Park in Kern?
Yeah, all of Fraser Park's in Kern.
But when we're talking about going between here and Lake of the Woods, there's at least a Ventura boundary, correct?
Right, we won't go into Ventura or Los Angeles counties. Our sphere of influence will stay in Kern.
We're just making sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
No problem. We don't want to have to deal with it either.
okay,
Good catch, Terry. Discussion vote update on the Fraser Park Public Utility District meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote on amendment 1 to the funding agreement.
Carlos and Oscar that are
We
here.
we don't have Carlos or Oscar, but I believe amendment 1 had to do with
Had to do with moving the funds into, from the meter replacement side to the well drilling side for the replacement.
but that was already okayed by Lawrence, wasn't it?
Pardon me? Yes, it was. And in fact, I think we got an updated document that indicated that, but I have to check my records, but I think that's already been incorporated.
Yeah, my understanding was that already happened and that our bigger issue is that because they moved money from the meter to the well, that our well is covered, but it doesn't cover our all of our meters. So that we're gonna have to still figure out, but that's why we're going with some of the other, like the bridge loan, which is later on, right? So I think we can skip that.
That's correct. We wrote a letter, I think maybe under Rebecca's signature, requesting another 234,000 to that project. And I think, as I recall, what Lawrence's response was that, well, let's wait till we get the well drill and find out, if we have any overruns beyond what we've already, placed in that part of the program or part of the grant. And so if we do have an overrun.
But don't we have to sign Amendment 1?
We do, it's due before
Yes, ma'am.
August 1st.
Don't we have to approve and assign this Amendment 1?
Johnny asked me that and I didn't have access to a signed copy. But maybe there's one at the district and Tiffany would know.
Tiffany said it's not signed yet and it's due by August 1st.
So it should be signed by the
And
district
it
and sent
returned.
back.
So do we?
So
need
what
to-
do we need to add to that?
Approve the amendment, make a motion to approve the amendment, and then Director Gibson will sign it, and then we can send it back to the state.
But we don't have it in front of us, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's in number 17. No,
Oh,
16.
my bad.
Then the number 12.
Number 12, Doug.
Okay, Dee, we have it in front of us. That was me. I'm getting tired.
They're written down.
So you looked this over and everything was okay, or?
I don't, I believe it is. I think maybe the board gives the president authorization to sign. Then, let me take a look at it in the morning and just verify that it is indeed what we've requested. And it does show that the funds have been allocated to the well 7 drilling project and taken away from the meter replacement project. The total remains the same.
Dee, I think we
Well,
could.
what it's showing,
Director,
what it's showing on, Yeah, Director Nyman.
You go ahead, Director Nyman.
Yes.
Director Schoenberg. has
Uh,
something.
on page, if you look at Amendment 1 on page 8, it shows the Unified Field Service Corporation bid of $1,077,392. $1,077,392. That's what it's showing. And then the phase 2, which is the meter, shows 2,194,000. And then it shows change order contingency of $388,000, 256.
And what's the total, Brahma?
The total of all that they have on there for the budget is $3,997,427.
That's correct.
That's for both.
That's the correct number for the total.
Yeah.
And what,
And one is, yeah, so
Uh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that we can actually, because it's not due until August 1st,
We had to move it before August, yeah.
we should be able to have them do this at the planning meeting. So if we take it over to the agenda for the planning meeting, I think we'd still have time, or no?
The planning meeting's too late.
The 28th is our planning meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
So what we need to do probably is move that we give authorization for our board president to sign this after Dee gives it a final okay.
Do you want to make that motion?
Yeah, I move that we allow our board president to sign this amendment number 1 outside of the board meeting, allowing our engineer, D. Jasper and Associates, to look at amendment 1 more time and just make sure that everything is okay with them. And if so, then it can be presented to our board president for signature.
I'll second that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. A roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Who's the seconder on this?
Garcia.
Garcia,
Director Gibson, could you please say who the seconder is? Because I second things and then Jerry second things and Terry, and there's a delay. And so I don't know how Tiffany's gonna figure out who the seconder is, or she's
My
just gonna pick
apologies.
somebody.
I think Jerry beat you to it. So the seconder is Director Garcia.
That-
Now roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Thank you.
did he leave?
Yeah.
Director Garcia, we're voting?
Aye, I said.
Oh, okay, sorry. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 500. Moving on to discussion vote on the engineering agreement with D. Jasper and Associates.
Oscar asked
Oh,
me.
Dee, you're going to review that tomorrow and let Tiffany know whether it's okay.
yes,
That way
Yeah,
she knows by Monday she can get it out.
yes,
Okay.
I'll review it in the morning.
All right.
Okay. So
Thank you.
Director Nyman, that was still A, but now we're on B.
You want to give them like 10 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the best.
So Tiffany has something to add to item 12B.
Yeah, Oscar just asked that we put a little pressure on D that we really need this contract because it's now holding up the bridge loan.
Okay, you heard that, Dee.
We're working on it. I pulled the form out today and I'll get on that in the morning. as well, and we'll get one filled out and get it up to the district.
Hey, can I get a time frame?
Pardon me?
Can we get a time frame?
Uh,
About by,
I was going to
Is that-
modify. I was going to modify it in the morning, and we'll send it up on Monday.
terrific, thank you. C, discussion vote update on drilling well 7. Have we beat it to death?
So have we heard anything else, Dee, as far as the drillers, or are we still, once we get the signature, hopefully soon from CNC, are we still in the same place we were as far as nothing changing on?
Yeah,
on the
right now,
drillers?
right now, nothing's changing. Really, they have, I believe, 4 or 5 rigs, and they're all busy. And we need a specific rig to drill up there in Treasure Park. And as soon as that rig is available, then we'll get it. But I don't know I don't know the status right now. But as soon as I'll do some checking. But really, everything keys on getting that agreement signed. So then we can tell the driller, yes, put it on your schedule, and then he will. But he's not going to do that until we get an agreement signed and we tell him to go ahead, because he's got tons of work and he's fitting this in. So
So we need to just make sure that we're in contact with you so that we know when we can go over there and get that signed. I don't know if Johnny's gonna be, I mean, if Johnny's still out, we need, I don't know how long they're gonna take to turn it around. I don't know who they're gonna contact, but are you going to recontact CNCD like in a couple of days and see where they're at with it, or are we, or so that we can get the stuff to the driller?
I can do that, sure.
Okay, and then I guess we just need to figure out who can go over there and have them sign if they're willing.
Well, but they're not up here.
Sometimes they are, it's hard to say.
Well, she mentioned arranging a time to get together on the property, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
So,
they live
okay,
down
we're-
in,
yeah, we're a little out of
Or
order, but I
LA
just
or
wanted to
whatever.
make sure that.
that's where Johnny
Okay,
had to go.
So are we done with C?
Yes,
Any more discussion? E, discussion vote on the status of meter replacement. I'm sorry, meter project budget and requesting additional funding.
Referred to that a little bit earlier. I think under your signature, Rebecca, I'm not sure, but we requested additional funding of $234,000 for that meter replacement project. And that's really what Lawrence's response was: get the well drilled, and then we'll deal with any overages that we may have when we drill the well. And then we'll look at what we have left and see how much we can get done. I think Johnny's on board with this. Whatever we have left, I think we need to let a contract for that amount and get that much done and apply, hopefully we can then get additional funding to finish it up during the time that the contract is being performed. And then we would just do a change order for what was left. But we would need, we can either do that or wait for additional funding from the state, whatever the board feels comfortable doing.
I think we felt, Dee, that we would be able to get the bridge loan and have enough money. We just, as soon as you have that engineering agreement and we can move forward on the bridge loan, then I believe we would have the money we need to go out to bid.
Great, yeah, then no problem. We can do that. I didn't know I was hanging up the bridge loan, sorry. But I did pull the documents out and today and had Patty prepare them so I could go through them and apply that standard agreement to this one.
Right, because the way the bridge loan works is we're able to use it, and then as we pay it back, we could use it again. So if we do need additional money first to pay, we may need to use some of it first on the well drilling, just to make sure the contractors are paid in a timely manner. But if we then get the claim, we can turn around and use that money again to finish, to work with the well, with the meters.
Okay, that's great. Well, I will get on it, certainly. One other thing that just occurred to me, and I'm looking through my records and I don't see that I have the amended agreement. So Tiffany, if you could set for the meter replacement project / well 7, if you could send me that for review, just email it to me, then I'll make sure that I'm reviewing the latest version so that I'm reviewing the correct numbers.
Okay, I'll send it to you after the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to F, discussion vote on the bridge loan for meter replacement.
We don't have Carlos or
So
Oscar.
Oscar was going to, I believe I've turned every portion of the application, all of the required documents in except the contract. So Oscar was going to check with Jesse Snyder tomorrow to make sure what the status is and verify that as soon as she receives the signed contract, that she'll go ahead and approve the bridge loan. So he'll get back to us.
You hear that, Dee?
I'm sorry, say it again.
No pressure, but you're the last thing we need in order to get the bridge loan.
Hey, I hear that loud and clear.
Said with love, said with love.
Got it.
Discussion vote on the plans and specifications for the meter replacement.
I didn't have time to talk to Curtis about that today, but I think we're, I don't know, I can't answer the question right now, but I know we're close. And so I will ask your forgiveness for not getting that information prior to the meeting.
We'll carry that over.
Well, everything will be carried over, but
Yeah.
we just go on.
And
Okay.
then we have nothing on because there's no,
We can't go into bid.
no claim yet, or is there?
So
Um,
I've been working with
Actually,
Oscar.
Tiffany has something on that.
I've been working with Oscar on the claim. I've sent him the district's invoices. I've sent him Jasper's invoices. There's some confusion on the attorney's invoices. So I just talked to Oscar today and he looked through them and clarified that they do all pertain to the meter replacement project. So on Monday, I will email the accounting department for the attorney and ask them to change the header on those invoices so that they say meter replacement and they don't say, there's a number of different actual topics. Some of it's planning, some of it's easement. It all says something different, but we're gonna get all those straightened out and then he'll have that ready for the claim next Thursday.
Okay, sounds good. So,
Eh,
yeah,
And quick question for the payout director, Nyman, you'll be on the state meeting
Which is when?
next week, next Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
so these,
13.
oh, good, okay. Discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on potholing and mapping.
back to me, I take it. I've have an agreement. I'm preparing an agreement. We have, anyway, selected Lyle's Construction, W.M. Lyle's company. They're the folks that have been doing a fair amount of work for Lake of the Woods. Pamela and Joan, you guys have used them a few times. They're very familiar with the area. And so I selected them to do the potholing. We're putting together an agreement, should be done next week. It looks like they'll have a crew available August 1st. So we're moving ahead with that.
Okay, discussion vote on the project budget.
We can't do that until we've done potholing and mapping. Correct?
Well, the budget is that this thing is being funded through self-help. And the budget that we have is $291,675.50 plus a contingency of $43,751.33, bringing the total to $377,080.83. Self-help prefers that we don't get into that 43,000. We do too, but we don't know exactly what it's going to take once we get on the ground. It is available, and if indeed we spend the other funds, then the contingency is available, and we'll use it if we need to.
Right, but that's not the entire project budget, which can't be determined until after we've done the potholing and mapping.
Right, yeah.
Just the TA funds.
Yeah, just the potholing, and then we have an agreement with self-help to do the design as well. I don't have that number with me, but nothing will be spent out of that fund until we get the potholing done and know what we're dealing with. And one of the things I'm going to do as soon as Johnny is available next week will be meet with him, and we'll go over the areas that we need to start with so that, at the time we can get Lyle's up there a little earlier, and we can kind of go over the area that we want to start with, and then, how we're going to kind of stage the thing as we move through the district. So, hopefully Johnny will be back maybe first of the week.
Is that something, Dee, that you can just either apprise the project ad hoc of, or that I don't know if we'll be able to be a part of, but at least let us know kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'll keep you posted. And, we'll get things organized, and really it's going to take 30 to 60 days probably to get this thing done. And so I'm really wanting to get this thing going August 1st so we can move right ahead with it. And of course, we need to coordinate closely with John.
Okay, so we can't do anything with C, can we?
No.
Okay,
Or
and
D.
you're on D.
Right.
I think we've got everything we need for the project application so far, right?
That was the general application. I got everything to Carlos a couple weeks ago, and his deadline to submit it was July 1st. So as far as I know, he submitted everything to the state.
I think we're just in a holding pattern there until we have potholing and mapping and all the other stuff, and then we have to submit all that stuff to actually get the full funding.
Let's go, can we move on to number 14?
I think so.
Discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation to Special Districts Grant. A, discussion vote update on purchasing the generators. Anything new, Dee?
I gotta beg forgiveness on this one too. I haven't had a chance to check with Curtis and find out what's going on with that. So I've written myself a note to check with Curtis on these two things. But I know they have, Curtis has been in contact with these folks. But I can tell you what's come out of that. Yeah, I think it's in process, that's for sure.
Well, what about taking on these new tanks? Tanks.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, but we need to talk about it.
Okay. Discussion vote on engineering and design.
I think all we're doing there, if I recall, is, once we decide where we want to put these things at the plants, and I understand there'll be portables and probably with the wheels taken off and chained down. But, we'll put together a site plan for each one of the installations and, draw up a pad and provide that for the district, actually. I think the district's going to prepare those pads, I think. And so we'll work with the district to get that done.
Okay. Discussion vote update on the nitrate analyzer.
Well, it's in. I don't know how, I think it's working pretty well. We had our meeting, Lisa?
Yeah, Johnny, actually, so what's going on with that is that we haven't moved forward with any of the things we talked about with Jesse Dollywall. And that's because I guess Johnny was waiting on Ness to, they trenched and they're waiting to be able to get information up here before. So I don't believe they did the testing that we were talking about. So I think that that's going to start as soon as they meet with, I think it's meeting with Ness next week, but I don't remember what date he said.
Mhm.
So it's in, but we haven't done the samples and compared them to it as we were talking about with the state. And we're waiting on, we did talk to Ness, and it is possible to be able to talk from that nitrate analyzer to the system here in the office. So I think that's what we're waiting on.
Do you expect Johnny back on Monday?
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so.
I don't know.
He texted me, hold on. Yeah, he says that they think they'll be back Saturday or Sunday, so hopefully he will be back Monday.
Okay, great. I'll touch bases with Johnny. I may need to write some sort of a memo to Jesse and kind of give him a status. I think there's been some conversation. I think I've seen some back and forth with Johnny and Jesse. But I'll just double check to see if I need to update Jesse, more formally with maybe a memo. And if not, that's fine. Certainly don't want to get in the middle of it, but indeed, he may be, well, I don't know exactly where it's at, but I'll talk with Johnny, and if I need to do it, I can prepare something.
Okay, yeah, again, because I don't think we totally have all the details in the project ad hoc on that, even though we met with you and the Johnny and the state. So I think if you could just copy us on that.
Yes.
Got our work lined up, Director Nyman.
Okay, so I think we're done with D, aren't we?
We're done with D.
D, you can leave.
Go back to the Crystal Palace.
Okay.
That's a great place to work on this stuff.
We're
My
done.
my daughter my daughter's band is singing there tonight. I went there just to have dinner and then to see them get started and then came back here. But we like to be there when they're performing because they're our daughters. So
Yep.
anyway,
Totally get it.
Yep.
Go and enjoy.
thank you. I think I've probably done. I think they had about a 2-hour set and so they're probably already done. So I'll end up just shutting out the lights here, going home and feeding the horses.
Thank you, Dee.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Good night, Dee.
Good night.
You folks from Lake of the Woods, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we're just gonna be cleaning house. You know, we're just gonna be doing in-home stuff, so. But you're welcome to stay, okay? And we're going to move on to 22, discussion vote on hybrid meeting solutions. Well, that kind of includes you guys. Is this working? What do we need to do? What can, I thought we decided not to do anything.
Yeah, there's no what.
We decided not to go with Zoom, or not to go with Zoom's equipment solutions, but to keep doing what we're doing and purchase another monitor, I believe, so
I
that,
think so, or even one of something with the camera. Now, if you look at where the iPad is now, it sits or balances on the chairs. I don't think it's an ideal. Eventually, either a shelf, if we're gonna keep using the iPad, or getting some other form of camera. And I was concerned that if a member of the public came, they'd sit and they'd block the camera.
can't we hang a camera like part way where it's past the public, but
Up by the clock?
no, like off the ceiling, like in the middle of the ceiling,
Like a flat screen TV would?
well, no, just like hang a camera down, kind of like that camera there, but just a better, I mean, I'm thinking maybe we should purchase a camera and then another monitor, because this monitor is good as well, but I think we need to be able to look at a monitor over here, because we're
Where the
always,
camera is.
yeah, my neck's hurting all the
Amen.
time.
But why can't we move this one over there?
Because I think we need one here too, because for those people, it's probably easier to look here, but for us, it's easier to
No,
look
because
here.
we should all be looking that way, everybody should be.
Except if somebody's sharing their screen, it may be visually hard to see. So having something where you're physically close to might help as well, so having both.
Yeah, I still think we need both, like you saw Director Gibson went sat over there.
Well,
to
that's
see
only
that.
because she can't see around the flag.
No, it's because I can't see the screen.
That's what I'm saying, you can't see
Right, but she's
around.
not gonna be able to see a screen way over there. So it's not that crazy expensive to buy a monitor these days. They're kind of
Couple
cheap
hundred,
now.
I think monitors.
I mean, back when we bought that, it was not crazy expensive, but it's like probably twice as cheap now at least. I mean, they dropped, that you can get bigger and much cheaper now. And we don't have to have, we can just do HD, which is pretty cheap. We don't have to have 4K for our meetings. So as long as we're going with like just traditional HD, like those are cheap now and you can get a huge screen. So, because everybody wants the next best thing, which we don't really need for Zoom. It's just if we were watching movies in here, so I think that would be a good solution, would be at least another monitor, a better camera, so we're not using, and definitely a place to put, so you could port the camera into the iPad though, so you didn't have to use the iPad as a camera, and the iPad could be just is the iPad only working as a camera right
It's
now?
only working as a camera.
Oh, so yeah, let's use the iPad for more sophisticated things and get a camera.
And then we want to discuss getting a laptop too, or are we going to put that off for a while?
I think we probably need to discuss getting a second laptop as well, because, I mean, I know if we're in here, I've been in here for ad hocs where the laptop's not available. Although lately it's mostly been available, but I don't know, do you think, I know there's training sessions sometimes. You guys don't seem to be doing that as much when we're in here for the ad hoc.
They've been doing training, like they just did some heat illness prevention training. And they use the laptop and then watch it on the screen.
I mean, it'd be nice to have the laptop set up a little bit more permanently for this whole thing, so it's not constantly moving and being unplugged and plugged and everything. And then have a second laptop that's just for kind of board, ad hoc, maybe training.
Something that can possibly be checked out. Somebody,
Possible, I don't know if we're there yet, but
Yeah.
certainly at least so that someone can sit out here, so like the thing that happened yesterday on the budget ad hoc, we'd be able to have somebody here on Zoom and have, close access, which you probably did that anyway, you probably moved the computer over here, no. So,
stayed here, Becky watched there, Deborah was in there.
so yeah, so if they, probably be better even closer, because I was having trouble hearing.
Yeah, I was tough with
Yeah.
the microphone. Like I was thinking, maybe I should do it at the same time. Could I do a Zoom on my phone? So I could talk into my phone?
Not if you're sitting here, if you're at home, yes, but if you're sitting here, it will feed back.
Oh, okay.
You get feedback loops. That's why we kind of winged it for the ad hoc, but
It helped me so much.
And as you know, there's always a delay. No matter where you are on Zoom, there's a delay.
So I'd like to move that we extend the meeting to finish business.
I will second that.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Won't be long.
I,
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling.
Aye.
So that was the motion made by Schoenberg, seconded by Kelling, and the vote was 5-0-0. Did I remember to vote? Gibson?
Gibson, aye.
Okay. So do we need to discuss the meeting room setup and installation, or did we
We're
kind
gonna
of cover
get, we're
that?
gonna get quotes, prices.
if we want an additional laptop, I would talk to Bill Bice. Because he did that last time. He'd know what we need and what would be a good price. So I can talk to him. I'll put a note.
So we don't need a motion on that, right? We just direct can do.
I think we can just direct
It'd be a
Tiffany
quote.
to move forward and get quotes, and we could get a quote on a monitor. I don't think they're gonna be, we could ship it from one of the, sure, we can look at a few different monitors. I don't think it needs to be any more than a HD 1080p monitor. And I don't know what size. I mean, we could go bigger because, like I said, they're pretty ridiculously cheap right now, even for HD. That's not. We just don't want to go to like UD or something. We don't need any of the fancy stuff, so it will be cheaper. We don't need LED or anything like that. So it should be, and we don't need smart necessarily, although I'm not positive on that.
We may need smart because of the Wi-Fi technology, but we'll see.
Oh, just so we can attach Bluetooth to it. So yeah, but they're still,
Possible, yeah.
they're still pretty cheap.
I don't think they make TVs that aren't smart anymore.
Probably not. So yeah, so that would be my,
Okay,
I don't know if anybody else has a take on it, but that's,
do you have opinions about it, Director Nyman?
I'm okay with what y'all are talking about.
Good deal. How about you, Director Garcia?
I'm on board with the upgrade.
Sounds great.
and I think for the camera, we could look into a mount, because I know they have like ceiling mounts. You can just get a ceiling mount, and they even have ceiling mounts that pivot so that you can remotely, turn the camera as needed. So I would look into maybe something like that.
Bill Bosch probably know about that too, huh?
Probably
Not
not
as
as much,
much.
No, you go to, okay.
yeah, but he's good.
That's
Very
Tiffany
good.
thing? You'll figure it out, right?
We'll get back to you on that.
Okay, discussion vote on future agenda items.
Oh, yeah, we did that already.
You were, the one future agenda item is putting on there. Generators, how that's gonna work with new tanks. Discuss that with Dee and
Yeah, so, I'm really concerned that maybe Dee has too much on his plate.
Agreed.
So I know that he's told us over and over they can handle it. But I think we may need a second engineer for smaller, I mean, it's hard because they almost have to work with him because
They would, I mean, it'd have to be a.
he knows the system really well, but I just am really concerned that we have so many projects and it keeps being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that, gonna get to that, gonna get to that, and we have a crunch.
I'm not saying having Dee put in new tanks. I'm saying the generator, which is something that you brought up, the generator at Elm Tank, or whichever one we're gonna replace, then it needs to be attached to that, the new tank versus the old tank. Does Dee
Right, I'm
need-
not even concerned with that, but we can put that on, but I'm concerned with if we're going to make new tanks, that there is too much going on
So
and
these are
not
two
enough getting
separate-
done.
Two separate agenda
Yeah,
items.
I mean, I'm-
Okay, Pam sent us a message on the previous thing. It said we just bought a small smart TV 55-inch for $298 and a wall mount for $50 at Walmart and use an HDMI for the computer to connect.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty inexpensive.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
So for agenda items, I was thinking the tank replacement, do we want to start a project header like I do with the other projects?
Yes,
So now it's main header tank replacement project, and then we
Yeah.
can have discussion vote on engineer under it, and then which tanks.
yeah, as much
replacement
as
and all
that's
this
gonna
stuff.
be weird, but I just don't know how Dee can possibly take on one more thing.
We've got to have the discussion with them. It'll be,
It's gonna be tough,
Awkward.
but we have to.
but we just
Okay,
have
so
too
start a
much
project.
Well,
going
but-
on.
But I am really concerned that if we don't move forward on that, kind of simultaneously with everything else, that we're gonna get like leaks or something that are gonna be potentially catastrophic.
Yeah.
I don't know when, and then the issue at hand is also like, I know we're not gonna get grants on those because they're too old. So. And we need to make sure we carry over that, the whole, even though we did the 30,000 now into the capital improvement, I think we need to, just carry that over, like that discussion under that subject of funding, like how we fund it. To make sure we have enough
Funding the tank replacement.
funding to take
Okay.
replacement.
Anything else that we didn't already?
Is there anything that, Director Garcia or Director Nyman that you want to see on the agenda?
No, I think you guys have covered it.
Okay, so
Okay,
I will,
I have one quick question. Do we have anything we need to do that needs to be on the agenda for Prop 218? As far as implementing it now that we passed it? Maybe we better put that on there just to make sure that we're implementing everything?
Yeah, I'll put that on there because I remember last time before the rate increases, we had to send notice for each increase. I don't know if we'll have to send it for August 1st increase because
It
we
was-
just did it,
Well,
but
it
we
was in the
will have
letter.
the January increase.
Right.
Yeah,
So we can put.
but it was in that
Yeah,
letter
Prop
that it was
218
gonna go.
Yeah, I know, but I think you still have to send something out, so we need
Each time
to,
it increases.
we need to
Yeah.
be warning people because it's happening right now and we already have the audit. We need to let people know that there's gonna be another one in January.
Yeah, they have to plan for that 67-cent increase.
Yeah, I know.
it's almost a cup of coffee.
It's gonna be really hard. I could probably go to Don's and beg for it for somebody.
Probably. Yeah,
Sorry.
if you're
shouldn't
talking
say
about
that.
200 people going there, that might be.
Okay, I don't want to cut this fun short, but I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, Mr. Nyman has made a motion. It's been seconded by Mr. Garcia. We'll take a vote. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson, I 500. We are adjourning at 9:01. Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Hey, Lisa,
Feel better.
Hey, bravo.
Lisa,